folks. Mil-Spec Opsman here, coming to you live from the great state of Texas. It is about 6:30 p.m. Central Time on October 25th, 2021. And just remember, when you get a chance, hit that like, subscribe, and bell for notification. Also, just wanted a quick reminder to everybody that the No Shave November is coming up. And so you can get your state-of-the-art, super premium beard care products right here. Carrying them in the store now, and things seem to be clicking. So we just got our new shipment in about a day ago, and we're about ready to roll to support November. So if you're growing a beard and you want to keep it soft and keep it clean, this is definitely the way to go. It all myself. So it is monkey tested and monkey approved. All right, so let's jump over here without further ado onto our Sky Glass, which is my new go-to. This tool is insane. I absolutely love it. The more I use it, the more I just get addicted to it. So you can find this app. Actually, it's out there right now, and you can, if you just Google Sky Glass flight tracker, it'll pull right up. So, but it is. It's just an amazing tool, and this guy is just making them like every day. This thing just gets better, so he's just constantly messing with it. So currently, right now, what we're looking at on the board, just kind of walk you through what we're seeing here. You're noticing some red aircraft flashing, like this one here. Got a couple up here in the corner, one here. So we got 4 of them. One hidden right back here behind this other airplane. Those are in-flight emergencies, and so what happens is the pilot is flying and does what they call squawk on his transponder, and it basically tells the tower, hey, I got a problem. And so it'll light up on the air traffic controller screen, and depending on the squawk or the code that they enter in there, it'll, the number of the squawk will give air traffic controller eyes on it without having to even contact them, really. They know exactly what's going on. So if it was a hijacking or something of that nature, they could just look at the squawk code and know exactly what was going on, that, the cockpit had been compromised or whatever it may be. Now, in this case, you're going to notice on the board here, you're going to see lifeguard. That is a medical flight, which is either, a medical emergency, something of those along those lines. So one of them is that. Now, this one, it says Nordo. It actually, if you break it up, it says no radio is what that means. That means their comms are down. They can't communicate with the tower. And so, they squawk on that, and then they just usually go to their normal airport or an emergency airport. I don't know. I'm not a pilot, but there is that. And then down, I have no idea what that one means. I'll have to look that one up. That just popped on before I could ask my resident expert, which is Code Monkey G. And anyway, so there is that. Now, what we have on the board, if you notice, you've got icons for airplanes. If you'll notice, like this icon right here, I say icon, this little triangle in here, you'll see it change from green. It'll neutralize, go blue, or it'll go red. And if it's green, it means it's climbing. If it goes red, it's descending. And if it's just a normal kind of that teal blue, that just means it's level at altitude, just cruising. Okay. So there's that. Then let me see here. These pink ones are what they call mask or masked aircraft. They're like, we've always talked about the block where a pilot doesn't want to be tracked. Well, all of these pink ones are masked, which means you can't track them. If you go into another system, you can't even see them, or they keep you from finding out any information about them at all. So this system, because it is crowdsourced, everybody they have antennas around the nation, around the world, that all feed into OpenADSB Exchange, and that's how we get this information that other flight apps do not have. So this thing is definitely different. It's really cool. So that said, let me pump over here to military only, and then we're going to pull up our list here. Let me clear these emergencies, although we'll still see them on our screen flashing. Let me clear it, and then I'm going to reburn it here. And just let me make sure that thing clears off what we got. There we go. Super clear. And now we're just going to look at military only. And let's see what we got. Now, I was looking down on the border earlier today, and we've been getting a lot more helo activity. Right now, you're not seeing really much down there, but it doesn't mean there's not anything going on. But I will just tell you, it is not hopping just yet, but that could change. All right, and then I did notice we did have a C-17 roll in just now, just recently, in the last 30 minutes or so down here into Central Florida. That'll kind of coincide with our TFRs here in just a second, because I'm going to show you we've got a security TFR going on down there, and that is probably related. It was one of the Reach aircraft with the T on the backside, which in the past that's always been kind of associated with a motorcade of some sort, but maybe not. But one to watch. So we just pop it in there. Let's see what else we got going on here. Now over here in Tucson, you can see stuff going on here on the border as we kind of roll in. You got EC-45, Watts 21, and we can actually take a look at see what it has been doing flight pattern wise. Looks like it's just rolled straight up and down. Really hasn't done too much. But let's get over here to our list real fast, because I want to see what we have quantity wise on the screen. Let me back up our screen so we get everything in here US wise. I think it's just it's amazing, man. Like playing a video game, just absolutely amazing. So looking at C-130s, we're sitting at about 11 up. C-17s are 11, and so that so we got 22 cargo type aircraft that are up right now. PC-21s, we got 6 of those, 6 H-60s. Now what's really cool is I can actually select this bad dude. We got one R-135. Let me see if we got anything else that catches my eye here. Let's just do the H-60s for now. There's 6 that are up. It'll pull out the aircraft tail numbers right here, or the call signs. Okay. But if I go up here to this little dude, and let me just double check here. Now let me hit it again. Where'd my H-60s go? Got one B-52 up. There's our H-60s. All right. Now let me hit refresh on this real fast. I do a clean burn, see if it does it again. It should actually isolate just those aircraft if I figure out how to do it just right. There they are. And so now you can see, let me bump these up in size. You can see what we got now. So this is a cool little feature. You can actually just isolate just like we do over on OpenADSB, but now I can do it on this, which is really, really cool. And so it doesn't look like we got a ton of H-60s up today like we've had in the past. Given this time of day, but looks like we got 4 of them here over in the southeast, and then 1 out here on the west coast. So I'm going to break away from this for a minute. We'll come back in just a second. Let me go ahead and just burn a new one here, and then reload and close out my list. That way it's nice and clean when we get back over here to it and look closer at the border. All right, so let me minimize that. This is going to be just our flat view of the aircraft up right now, sitting about 103, which is not a real big number. We did just clear our TFR for the East Coast. Up here, we had two active TFRs up over Jersey. That's where Flashbang was today. These are still air shows here in the yellow. Looks like we got a nice little storm rolling through off the eastern seaboard. And this is Disney and security. Now this one's security too. It's over the Cape, over Kennedy Space Center, Cape Canaveral area. Typically we see another box out there and it says space operations. So this one says security. Wondering if it's tied to the C-17 that just rolled in. Don't know. And then these, let's get over here into Dallas, South Dallas. Now this says air show. And I'm not really sure what that is all about. Something about an aerial demonstration for major sporting events. So I guess we got something coming up in the coming weeks for maybe a Cowboys game or something. Who knows? But and then this one up here is going to be air show. That's up in north. It's actually north of McKinney, just on kind of like on the border there between Texarkana, I think, somewhere around there. All right, power outages here. Looks like we got our normal TFR along the border. And then we get up here off the East Coast and check this thing out. This is the latest storm rolling through. Now, this thing supposedly is a whopper. It's got it's supposedly got more winds and a lot of damaging winds and rain and snow up in the mountains and all kinds of stuff coming in. So I'm sure we'll see that roll across the U.S. here in the weeks or next week to come. So, and then this one is probably going to be a Caravan wrecker right here. This one kind of floating in here into middle Mexico. If it'll make it over here to the coastline, lots of rain. Maybe slow them down a little bit as they head up towards our border. Okay, let's break away from that. Let's hop on over here to Flashbang. See what Mr. October is doing here with his, let's see, his jellyfishing. Let's seeing too much. I do see him here. Looks like he had a gaggle aboard Air Force One. And then looks like New Jersey, and then he came back to the White House at 4:05, and then he's meeting with the All Holiness Patriarch. I don't know who that is. Orthodox Christian Church at the White House. So anyway, there's that. That's at 5:30. And so, all right, now let's get over here real fast. I want to talk a little bit about this Caravan that's en route. Now I'm reading a lot of different things. I've heard several things. One is it's a mother of all caravan, so MOAC. So if you saw my thumbnail, that's what that was about. MOAC, inbound. But this is they're talking about 2,000 of them actually sleeping on one of the baseball fields in Tapachula. So I've heard numbers all the way upwards of 100,000. I'm going to show you some of the stuff coming through, but just want to point out a couple things about this article as we kind of get through it. This Caravan is a group of congregating together, organized migrants, and who wish to participate in the Caravan and register with a QR code on their phones or web link to participate. That's coming from Faux News, and then just absolutely amazing. But this is kind of give you an idea. They've got a leader actually who is Borders, I think People Without Borders or something along those lines. That's kind of bringing this group up. But this is they're saying right now it could be as many as 5,000. I'm going to show you the images and the pictures we've got of the Caravan coming. But look at these numbers right here, and I'll show you some more numbers just to validate this. But Border Patrol is actually saying that in September they had 192,000 inbound. Total for 21 is 1.734 million. It's the highest level ever recorded. If you think we're not under attack, that ought to prove it. All right. Now let's get over here. I just want to show you something too. This is actually the MOAC right here. Okay, so just eyes on this. Now, I don't know how many that was, but looked like a lot more than 2,000. Definitely a lot of folks in that. So that is going to get real interesting. Now, I will tell you, too, that our Border Patrol looks to be, or at least our National Guard, it looks to be ready to roll. So that's a good thing. And so I was looking today. We do have a lot more helo activity headed to the border. This was earlier today, a couple EC-45s coming down from Fort Hood. And then this one here was actually just rolling out of McAllen, was doing some border runs. So it looks like we definitely got some folks down there to help. All right. And so, but this is, if you go over to Southwest Land Border Encounters, this is just for the southern border of Customs and Border Patrol. Just kind of give you the numbers here. You can see this blue line, trend line right here is for 2021. Okay. And so you can see this is exponentially high. But if you get down into kind of the meat of the matter here, if you look at what's coming across, unaccompanied minors, single minors for 2021, this is a pretty higher number, 146,000. You can see that's higher than the last 3 years. And then over here under families, 479,000 families have come across. Now that's not as high as 2019, but it's not far off. And then if you get over here to single adults, 1.1 million, which is astronomical, 63.75% of the 2021 value, total value. So that right there, folks, that's alarming. It's not, we hear about all of this. They're coming across, and it is tied to, unaccompanied minors and kids and families and people just, seeking asylum, things like that. But when you're getting them all adults, single adults coming through, that's look at the difference between the last three. I mean, that's almost 3x what you could roll all three of those up into this one right here all by itself. That ought to be a warning sign for us, okay? Okay, now remember, this is only southern border. This doesn't even take into consideration the poppies, okay? So that is a whole different thing, and we're going to look at that here in just a minute, okay? All right, now let's get over here to flight radar real fast. I just want to show you what's going on with the volcanic activity. We always look at this. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game changer if these things continue. All it takes is one, and Yellowstone goes, it's game over, right? So, but these yellow that you can see right here, just below the volcanic areas, that's where the ash cloud is. Okay, and so we've got 4, 7, 8, so we've got 8 active today, and then La Palma is still going off. And now I want to share a story with you. And this is actually very cool. You're going to love this, but this is pretty funny. All right. Now, I don't know if you guys have followed this or not, but this is actually, there were dogs that were trapped in between these fissures of lava flow, and they couldn't get to them, and they were getting emaciated. I can't speak, but they were basically starving to death. And they were worried that the fire, the flames from the lava was actually going to get to them, and they were going to die. And so they've been sending in these drones to feed them and bring them water. And then they were trying to devise a net to go in and basically get them and bring them out one at a time and rescue them. Okay. And so all these people have been watching this. And so today they come back in, the dogs are gone, and there's a sign that says they basically rescued the dogs, and it was the A-team. And so it's pretty comical when you think the dogs are fine, and it was signed the A-team. So somebody went in there while all these people are preparing all these drones and everything to get these folks, these pups out, and rescued them, and they called themselves the A-team. But you can see this dog is just skin and bones down here. So, but yeah, it's been actually covered. You can see the drone footage. This is actually all of the lava that's just slowly creeping that direction, and you can imagine the heat coming from that. But these dogs are right here in the center of this, and then there's the sign. So somebody went in there, got in there somehow, and rescued these dogs. So it's a good story. Love it. And when we see some of the other stuff going on in the news today with the dogs in the labs and all that other stuff, it's kind of good to have a nice, good news story. So there you have it. That's in Spain. That's La Palma. And we'll move on. All right. Now, this is actually going to be our sniffer. This is not Marine 1. This is actually the other sniffer. This is the test. It basically tests air samples. And so I just want to show you, this thing was just doing some routes on the 25th, which was this morning, around 3:50. Actually, no, that's not right. It can't be right. Anyway, Eastern Daylight Time, 3:50 p.m. But it was up here near Philadelphia, so I don't know what they got going on in Philly, but they're checking for nukes, and you can see that bad dude got down low. All right, but this was here actually 3 flights today, so it went from Andrews up to Philly, around. So we'll see this other secondary flight. Looks like they did kind of the same route, so I don't know what they've got in this general area. Stadium or something, but boy, they seem to be really worried about somebody popping one off here, don't they? Very interesting, and it's a data point, just something to think about. But the fact that they are really, we saw them up in Boston, we've seen them doing a lot of routes, so that must be a very active threat we don't hear about. Okay, now on that same note, I want to show you guys something. This morning, Flashbang was up in Jersey. And he was supposed to depart, and at that time we had his aircraft out here running circles. This was actually the backup, and the other one was on ground. So this thing's out flying routes. The whole weekend, we had these air refuelers just flying around all weekend over between Delaware. So this is right over his residence. So when you see the air refuelers, that's because we have fighters up, okay? What's he worried about, right? All weekend long, fighters up, okay? So that's the second time now. Every time he goes to his residence or whether he's in D.C., we got fighters up. So there must be a threat going on that these guys are really, really worried about and protecting him, because I don't ever recall in recent history. I know even with Trump, unless something was really off the chain, seeing fighters up over DC, constantly. So, you know, I guess it just kind of level sets everything to what we really have in the office, doesn't it? All right. So go Brandon. All right. Now over here to this, I want to also show you guys, speaking of tankers, this was down on the coastline just a little bit further south over North Carolina. We also had tankers flying around, and that was this morning. So that bad dude was pumping around. Obviously had fighters here. We had them up here off the East Coast in D.C. So like I said, they're certainly worried about something. Now, speaking of tankers, we had this 3-ship leave out of, I want to say, Boise, Idaho earlier today. Bad dudes went north a little bit, and then they peeled off and headed out, and now lost contact with them. So I don't know. They were out headed, looked like, to Hawaii, but not totally sure. But they went out over the Pacific there and disappeared. So, all right. Now, one more thing I want to show you guys, and this was a high flyer. I was looking at Germany today. Check this out. Now, you're going to notice right up here where it says "in" on the back, very top center of your picture here, right below Skyglass, right over the "in," you're going to see 5 high flyers up there. Those are stationary objects right over Germany, 5 of them. And they're sitting at around 63,000 feet, and they're just sitting there. So I think you got spy balloons up over Germany, and they're permanent. They've been there a couple times now, and so very interesting to see them just sitting there. I don't know what they are, but they go by call sign is GAFTT. 33 is one of them. But yeah, put these in my list of favorites because I'm going to keep my eye on those. Don't know what they got going on in Germany, but just a data point. They are way above everything else over there. Okay. All right. Now, away from the items of interest, let's get over here. Wait, this was one more. This is actually a drone over Portugal I was tracking today. And here we go. And so this is actually one of your unmanned drones zinging around over Portugal. So kind of cool. Caught that up today as well. So governments seem to be really watching people, don't they? Okay. N35GK. This is actually one I think we had an in-flight emergency on. So I'm not going to, let's see, landed 7 hours, 18 minutes ago. Yeah, this was one of our emergency ones. So let me pass on that one, and we'll get on over here to Biggs so we can get into the substance. These are going to be the poppies. And so today at Biggs, we had some arrivals. You notice there's nothing on the board right now, but let me get over here to this because if we look at just Monday, they cleared them. Well, we had some on the board. Very interesting. They're getting so sneaky. It's funny because if you go out to Spa and you try to grab one of them, yeah, they're actually clearing the boards. And what's funny is they're not clearing it for this other stuff. They're just clearing those flights. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. I tell you what. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're wiping this board. Well, you can see from Friday, we already talked about that one, but here's one of the Spas. Let me just check real fast, too. I want to see if Sierra Pacific. We actually had 3 flights today going to Biggs. Eastern Airlines, Sierra Pacific, and another one. I knew I should have done a screen grab because it's the only way you can ever, really prove that what they're up to. But all right, well, they're showing one flight right now coming back. So I did see that. That's SPA 708. We get 709. That is looks to be a regular flight now. As they're heading over, that's a 737-500 into. It goes over to Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, and then back to Tucson. So they are moving folks out here. It looks like we've got a little immigration facility going on out here at Hunter Army Airfield if you're in Savannah. All right. So there is that. All right. And, yeah, there's 709. That's the other leg of it. So out of Fort Bliss over to Tucson, and then it heads over to Hunter Army Airfield. Okay. So let's look here at Holloman Air Force Base. Now, this one also had some today. We've got Omni Air. That's a 767 coming out of Philly. That's bringing in some fresh poppies. VFR direct to Holloman from Philadelphia. And then it looks like this plane from here is taking some folks to Hano. So somebody is getting the royal treatment, getting out to Hawaii. Mercy. Can't imagine what they're supplementing to live out there on that one. So there's that. All right, Laughlin Air Force Base, DLF. We still have some of the Swift Air flights. That one's actually coming in from Alexandria International, and then it looks like it went back to Alexandria International. So, yeah, that looks like that's what we got going on here. So it's just round robin. That's a 72-hour holding facility in Alexandria. So it looks like they are deporting a few folks. All right. Now, this is N244TX. Just to kind of show you, we were looking at the helo activity down on the border. And this one here was getting busy this morning. I'm hoping that it will actually pull it up. That's one of the little short legs. But let me see if I've got it. This one was actually out here over Mexico. And see, they were looking for some folks. So we got plenty of people getting across the border here still. Like I said, if you look at the apprehensions, the amount that they're actually pulling in, it's insane. It's insane amount. And so, yeah, I mean, you bounce the apprehensions on the border against any big city, Dallas, any of those, and it's 1,000x what they would be arresting people for in a big Chicago or Dallas. It's insane. That tells you, if they're apprehending, they don't just apprehend people because they show up at the border. They apprehend people because they're bad people, right? They're stealing cars when they get across, or they're doing crimes, right? Or they're part of cartel, whatever it may be. But that shows you who's coming across our borders, folks. So it's insane. So, all right. Anyway, this is going to be Swift Air flights. You can see we got a couple out and about right now. So let me see where they're heading now. Earlier today, we had about a dozen up. And I didn't grab a screenshot. I probably should have. But this one looks like it's coming out of, that's going to be, boy, that is the name of this one down. Anyway, Dominican Republic. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, I had a Biden moment. Let me get my hands up. Dominican Republic. All right, there we go. So that coming back and forth. Looks like we also got some folks coming out of Yuma, out to El Paso, which is interesting. It means probably out near Yuma, Arizona. That may be another holding location where we're putting some folks. So Wisconsin and let me see, Sacramento to Laughlin. That's a border town right there. So those are probably return legs if I remember what was on the board earlier. So that's going to be Swift Air, smoking gun. This is one of our Swift Airs. You can see that bad dude went down to Guatemala City and back to Brownsville, Texas, which is where the current Caravan, I think, is actually headed towards McAllen, Brownsville, and Del Rio, those kind of areas, okay? All right, this is going to be our Hunter Army Airfield. So we looked at that earlier. You can see the arrivals. Here's one of the SPA flights coming out of Laredo. Arriving from Laredo. And this is Westchester, which is White Plains. That's one of our Swift Airs. And then this one here is National Cargo coming out of O-Town. And then as it left, it went back to Tucson, Springfield, Missouri, and down to Topeka, Kansas. Okay, so it looks like Hunter is a pretty active site for us right now, almost like Holloman and Biggs, where I guess I just watched them. They'll just start to fill everything up. So, okay, now this is, where am I looking at here? Oh, this is Guantanamo Bay. Now, we had a flight come inbound today. It's a Phoenix Air Graybird, which is interesting. Came out of Washington Dulles, and then from there it went over to Lauderdale. But it's a little G4, Gulfstream 4. And then we've got scheduled for tomorrow our normal Tuesday, 631 JS. That's going to round robin tomorrow. It'll be back on Friday. But if we get over here on the board, this could be why we see the one coming in from D.C. Maybe, maybe not, but I think it may be. We've got this U.S. versus Shaka Khan, and that's on the 28th, 29th motions and hearing, whatever the heck that is. And then nothing on 30th, which is the weekend, all right? So there is that, and I know it's not Shaka Khan, but I just made it Shaka Khan. All right. Now, here's 301 AZ. This is going to be Lauderdale up to New Haven, Connecticut. And I only point out the Connecticut leg because, Durham lives up there, and, maybe there's a connection, maybe not. And then it looks like it came out of New Haven, Connecticut over here to West Hampton Beach in New York today. But that was kind of the leg earlier. So you can see for Monday, Lauderdale up there to New Haven to West Hampton. All right. Its sister ship 302 AZ. This bad dude was up in St. Louis and then headed up to Omar's land of milk and honey, and that is going to be up there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So pointing that out. Don't know. Like I said, we just watch these because these are agency birds. Okay. And the last one, N183PA. I want to point this out. Agency bird. That dude was in Israel, back over to Greece. All right. So took a little trip. And I do find that interesting. But it rolled out of Germany, Ramstein, over to Israel, and then back over here. So that was today, all today. So anyway. All right. Let's get back over to our main board here real fast. Make sure I covered everything. I think I did. And I would put me right at the top of the hour here for our sit rep to be wrapped up. So, okay. Now, that is going to do it for this sit rep. I'm going to keep an eye on these high flyers. And then if we see anything else really interesting, I'm definitely watching the border. We need to all be paying close attention to the border because I think this Caravan should be arriving here in the next couple days. But it looks to be a pretty large one. They say mother of all caravans. And so pay attention to that. I know a lot of folks that are deployed down there right now. And so it's going to get interesting for sure. So stay frosty. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworxus.com.